Hi, I'm Shanil Kaderali. I am the Executive Vice President of Pierpoint Global. We are a niche global RPO firm, recruitment process outsourcing, serving companies like Varian Medical Systems, HP, Microsoft, Juniper, NetApp, Symantec, and many others globally. Today we're going to be talking about quality of hire and how to measure if you're hiring good talent. A little bit about my background. I worked with Cisco building the largest sourcing function, and within Cisco I was actively involved in HR dashboards. Back in 2001 worked and created a HR dashboard using Six Sigma methodology. At Symantec I put together a metrics dashboard focused on focused on talent acquisition and HR operations. At WellPoint, I worked on a quality of hire metric, and today I want to talk about quality of hire metrics. They're incredibly important to a HR function, a talent acquisition organization, and there's a lot of confusion and complexity around them. Today we're going to be talking about quality of hire metrics. Again, how to measure if you're hiring good talent. We're going to look at a little bit about methodologies. We're going to look at a couple of different metrics, what makes sense, what is within the realm of control within talent acquisition from a pre-hire and a post-hire perspective, and then we'll talk a little bit about some next steps moving forward. So what we want to do is take data and transform it into HR intelligence. Most organizations are kind of at that data level, and quality of hire really is at getting at some important information. When you're able to take the data that you have to determine a quality of hire and measure it much more intelligently with greater outcomes aligned to business strategy and performance, then you're looking at getting into much more important HR intelligence. And as we get into big data, we're going to be looking at network intelligence. But right now, quality of hire is an evolving area. Companies look at it in multiple different ways. There is different methodologies. One of the things I do want to stress is that there is no one size fits all. You look at survey data, turnover data, you look at business measures, you look at new hire performance, and all these methodologies are used and can be used in determining what a good quality of hire measure, metric, or score is. Now, what do we in talent acquisition focus on? There was a survey done by the Talent Technology Group, and from 1 to 3, with 3 being the most difficult, what are the measures that matter the most? And finding good candidates and finding them quickly ranked at the top, and that makes a lot of sense. That's in essence what our job is based on. Finding quality talent, finding them quickly. I would add, generally speaking, finding them in a cost-effective manner is always helpful as well, but generally it's about quality and speed. Now when we look at talent acquisition metrics, we want to align to our client expectations and business goals. And really one of the things I want to emphasize here is focus on what we can control. Within talent acquisition, we can focus on the quality of the slate of candidates that we present. It is about mapping, sourcing, knowing your competition, and presenting the most qualified candidates. That is within our control. In addition, new hire attrition within 90 days, I think that we are definitely impacting that score with the folks that we assess, select, and help move on towards the process to onboard. Beyond that, we have no specific control because then it becomes much more about a management and a coaching issue. I believe assessment scores for critical roles are important within looking at a quality of hire metric. Brand equity, that is determined by various surveys. Candidate experience is another one. It's an elusive metric. It's important as brand equity is. In addition, I think diversity is an important measure for many, many organizations, especially with critical and senior level roles. Determining how you measure it has to be subject to that particular organization, but it's also important. And time to fill for critical roles is also an important metric when you're looking at getting to a quality of hire metric. By itself, it doesn't mean much, but it's an important function and one of the foundational metrics within talent acquisition. What I want to now do is talk about the next slide, which are pre-hire talent acquisition metrics. Now what I've done, WellPoint, Symantec, and other organizations is really look at the pre-hire quality of hire score. And you're looking at a couple of different measures. I've typically calculated it as an index. You can look at it as calculating a score. So here's a formula. This formula is one that I've used. I'm not proposing that it necessarily is a right fit for your organization, but I think there's certain measures in there that once you get to an index, you're moving in the right direction, because you're first looking at that quality slate. Should you do it out of a 1 to 10 score or a different format? You're looking at the diversity measure that you chose. You're looking at the new hire attrition and any pre-hire scores from assessment, if that's applicable, and then also incorporating your time to fill. You determine the different measures for each one. So if your slate of candidates averages 7.8 out of a 10, then you use a 10 score, and that's 7.8. Plus time to fill for your critical roles was 45 days, and you gave yourself you measured that to be a 7 out of 10 score. That's the score it's going to be, and then of course you divide by the number of indicators to get at a quality of hire score. Now, it's really important to work with your head of HR, work with your finance organization, because one of the things you want to do is get buy-in for the different metrics that you use. All of these measures are interesting. They're interesting individually, but what you're doing is you're calculating a score to say, this is the quality of hire for, be it these roles, or be it for these critical roles, or in aggregate for your organization. Now, one of the things that I've done is do a regression analysis where you align your quality of hire metrics to very important business metrics like revenue or EBITDA or other company goals. And you have to look at it both from a pre and a post-hire perspective. You have to bring it back to the relevant outcomes for your organization that contribute to profitability. It's easy to say that my time to fill is 45 days, but it's better to say that we reduced our time to fill 20%, which got our technology and our engineering teams completing their product by a quarter early, resulting in X dollar of savings, which contributed to X amount of revenue. That is a far more compelling argument than just noting what the time to fill is. It has to be tied to the measures which are critical to your organization. What I want to talk about now are post-hire quality metrics. Call it quality of hire 2.0. You could do an easy 360. There's products like Checkster, others, 360 surveys on looking at what a post-hire quality of hire score is for the particular individual. But what you really want to do when you're looking at it from a group of positions are, how do the scores line up to your business outcomes? You want to ask a couple of questions. In terms of productivity, when was the employee fully productive? Do the peers see this person as one of the best, just average, better than most? And are they a culture fit? And all of these are determinants of, have you made a good hire? Post-hire basis is taking a formula, quality of hire, and it's taking the measure that you use for performance, for productivity, for culture, potentially even with a 360 comparison, and then dividing it by the number of indicators. And that, again, is an important measure when you calculate it as an index. You're getting to a little bit more advanced level metrics analysis. Again, the regression analysis is essential because it's got to be tied back to measures which impact your organization. I'll give you a good example. There was one of our clients, they had a horrible turnover rate, 48%. We found through our study with them that resulted in 3% of customers not renewing with this organization because they cited turnover as the number one reason for not renewing. If we improved turnover by 10%, we would have, in the bottom line, helped this company retain 18 million. And that is a compelling argument to say we have to invest in mechanisms to improve retention. And to do that, you have to first measure your baseline. What I want to do now is talk a little bit about a regression analysis example. I know that's not something we typically do in HR, but partnering with your finance organization, someone with a statistics background, getting an intern or using a company like Pierpoint that could help you with quality of hire consulting, what we do is look at the factors of success for the business. So for example, at an educational retail organization, we're looking at things like the center size, the performance rating of the center director who runs that particular educational entity. We're looking at the 90-day retention rate of teachers. We're also looking at the center termination rate. And as you can see in this example, the center termination rate is 51.4%. And if we do a hypothetical change of improving it, reducing it by 10 percentage points, that's a $1,700 monthly net revenue change in the positive, meaning that we would retain $1,700. If we did it for less than 90 days, we would do it by little less than $5,000. So what we're looking at is potential improvements of anywhere between $18 to $78 million in revenue retention. So that's a great example of a business case that you have to get validated and have your HR leader support and advocate. But when you have this example, you have a really compelling point of how reducing turnover can help retain revenue. In this example, for your organization, it may be a little different. It might be more related to the ROI of sourcing. Whatever it may be, a regression analysis can help. These are some basic important measures for post-hire quality of hire. As you see, it was important to segment both pre and post-hire.